Hello everyone, we've got a really fun card today, so thanks for joining me. So today we are working with the Spellbinders Dancing Chatterbox, and this is some dancing little teeth. And then I've also got the wiggly eyes from Spellbinders, and we are going to put this card together. This is one of the new releases from the 10th of the month, and I'm bringing in a brand new plate. Ugh, I always hate to make the first run on a new plate. Now the bottom plate is not a new one, but the one that I had on top of it was all warped, and so I chose to bring in a new one. So I've got all my dies here. I did take a minute and go on the site and print out the instruction guide so that I would know how to assemble this, so that's what I've got there. And we've just got all of our little pieces here, and we've got the scout, and we're going to use some scraps. I've got some scraps here that I've die cut out, some that have been folded for whatever reason that I didn't use, a scrap of black, and we are just going to run all of these bits and pieces through the die cutting machine. I've got a little strip of patterned paper there that I'm using for the shoes of our Dancing Chatterbox, and we're going to use some of this violet, I think, Spellbinders cardstock for the kind of the gums and the shoes, part of the shoes, the soles and the toes of the shoes, and use it. And we're going to bring in white that we're going to use for our teeth and our little wind-up handle. There are 3 pieces of teeth. I'm going to lay 2 down on here, and I'll have to go back and run another press. And I also laid the one of the bands to the shoes, because once I die cut them out in pink, I thought I might want them in white, and so I wanted an opportunity to kind of choose whether I wanted a white band or a pink band on my shoes, so I had a couple options there. I'm doing the shadow of the back of the mouth with black and the legs with black as well, and then we're not using the dies that do the eyes in this set. I think I point them out a couple of times. You don't need these wiggly eyes. You can use the die set, and it does have the whites of the eye and the black of the eye, so you've got everything there that you need for this. But I had the wiggle eyes, so I decided that I would use the wiggle eyes. Since we are making it dancing, it is going to be an interactive card. I thought it would be fun for the legs and the eyes to dance together. So I'm assembling the shoes here, and I've got my glue and my tweezers. And when I grabbed my tweezers, I did some cleaning the other night with my little rounder thing that I keep all my bits and pieces in. And there was some blue, I think it's some of that blue splatter ink from the Weekender. And I'll notice that I had it on my tweezers, and I've got it on that piece. And it got a little bit on the base of it. So I'm going to go get rid of the tweezers, clean them up. I decided not to use them. I did clean them. And then I die cut out another piece of the toes of the shoe and the heels. And I'm going to lay down a clean one. And this is where I'm like, get rid of these tweezers. And I was looking for some other ones, and I was not having any success. And I thought, I can assemble this card without tweezers. So I'm just going to use my fingers and try and get everything lined up on there nice and neat. And hopefully we won't have any more of that blue ink. It's that blue splatter ink that came in the Weekenders kit. I think somehow some of it got on something in there. And then when I took everything out and rearranged it, I got some of that blue on it, so I may have to wind up pitching that thing and getting a new one, because I thought I had thoroughly cleaned it out, but apparently I did not. Here's where I'm testing out the whites, and I'm like, no, I don't want that stark on there. I'm going to just go with the same color decorative strip as I am using for the toe and the heels of the shoes. Now, I am choosing pink. I'm making a girl. And we're going to have some fun with this. I've got a fun element I'm going to bring in for our girl. And here's our shoes. I think they're super cute. We've got that patterned paper that gives us a little extra texture and a little bit of design to the shoes, so they're just not, just a solid cardstock shoe. I think that makes it fun. That's a nice little addition, so you can add that to whatever you decide to do with your little chatterbox. And I'm just going to put the feet right down here or the shoes right down here on the feet. We've got the little ankle showing, and then we're going to get to assembling the mouth. So this black piece is going to be what goes behind the pink. And I'm choosing to use the black and the pink and the white because it's going to be reoccurring. We're just going to have black, pink, white on everything. And I think it'll look really nice together. So I've got the back teeth laid down, and then I'm going to bring in the pink part and lay over that. And then the big strips of teeth are going to lay on this white piece. So I'm just getting them lined up. So this is kind of like the inside of the teeth back there. And I'm just putting a little dot of glue on each one of those little teeth impressions. The die makes a nice little impression so you know exactly how to line them up. And I'm going to do that the same with the bottom of them. And since I can't use my tweezers, I'm just using my wax tool to pick them up and help me to arrange them. And then I had to floss the teeth a little bit because I had some die cutting hairs on there. So I used my pick to floss the teeth. And then here is the little piece that your little wind up tool is going to hook on. And it lays down on there. There is etched detail for that, and there is etched detail to line up the windy piece. The other thing is there is etched detail where the eyes go. So here I'm bringing in my wiggle eyes, and here I'm showing you these are the dies that actually cut out the eyes. So you don't need the wiggle eyes. You've got what you need with the die set, but because I have the wiggle eyes, I'm going to use them. And we're going to get them laid down on here like this, and I think they're going to be super cute and super fun. But before I do that, I'm going to start building my card base because I've got wiggly legs and stuff. I don't want to assemble it until I get on the card base. Now I'm checking my hands for that blue ink because I had a little dot on my cardstock, but it doesn't matter because I am going to bring in this embossed panel and cover it up. So it'll cover up that little dot of glue. And I was just checking my hands to make sure I didn't have any more ink on them. And we're going to get some glue on here and get this panel laid down. Now, I will link all the materials in the description box below, including the name of this embossing folder and the name of the nested die that I use to layer this up. Can't think of it at the moment, so I'll just include it in the description box. But anyway, this adds a nice little texture to our background because we're just going to bring in some kind of plain panels to lay as a base for our little chatterbox. So I'm going to bring in a couple of nested dies, and I'm just sizing them up, trying to decide which sizes I want to use. And I don't there's not enough gap between those two. I want more of a layer, so I'm going to bring in a smaller one. This has a stitched detail on it, and I'm going to use it for the white, and that's what we're going to lay it on. Then I'm going to use another one for the kind of the violet or whatever color cardstock that is. I can't remember. And we're just going to layer them up. And just running them through the die cutting machine, and we've got the bases. I'm keeping this simple. We've got a lot of detail with the embossed folder, and then the chatterbox is just so cute in and of itself. And I think the fun elements I'm going to add will really add to it as well. So we'll get these two panels glued together and get them laid down on our 3D, or it's just a regular embossing folder, not a 3D. It's actually the embossing folder of the month for February, I believe. I just can't recall the name of it. So just wiping up some glue there and just getting our panel laid down on there with a nice frame around it. I will tell you guys, it is raining right now. We've had incredibly warm weather. We've had lots and lots of fog in the mornings just because we've had this warm weather. And we had snow. All of our snow melted. And tonight it is raining. And I am not bothered by that rain at all because it reminds me of spring. I know we're not there yet, but it kind of sounds like it outside. And so I'm just choosing to enjoy that and hoping that spring will be here soon. So here we go. We've got our little legs and then our little chatterbox. Now this is where you take a circle foam piece and apply it to your card base to hold your legs in place. So I just got my feet where I wanted them. I'm taking a circle foam piece on there, and I'm just going to set my chatterbox on top of that and just give it a press so that my legs will move. And you can see they swing nicely on here, and they're going to be really fun. So next we're going to bring in our little eyes. And I thought there was a release paper on there, but I wound up adding some tape runner on there. And I'm bringing in the eyelashes from the Steamboat Willie set. And I am adding eyelashes to these googly eyes. And then I've got to put a foam circle behind there because it's raised. And so I need the foam circle to make it level. I had a little bit of glue on there, so you'll see I'll be wiping it off, but I'm going to add the eyelashes to this, and I think it's a super fun addition to this little chatterbox girl. And like I said, there is a little circle edge on the chatterbox that shows you where to add your eyes, so you can easily add them. Isn't that fun? There, I'm wiping off the glue. And the eyes look kind of crazy now, but so we've got wiggly eyes, and we've got a dancing feet, and it is super cute. Now, I didn't want to add a sentiment to the front of this because I felt like it would take away from the chatterbox, and I had this other scrap of paper that I had cut in half so that I could run it through that scalp die cutting machine, and I just cut it down to, I don't know, it was like 2.5 or something like that, and I was going to check to make sure it was going to fit on there. And then I have this Better Press plate. You can press it or foil it, and it says, "How old are we telling people you are now?" And I think it's kind of funny because you've got the laughing chatterbox, and then how old are we telling people you are now? I thought that'd be fun for the inside. So I'm just going to try to get the tape off of that. When I get the dies, they just come on a strip of heavy white cardstock, and the tape was pretty well stuck on there, and I wanted to get it off so it didn't mess up my plate. I've just got some plastic on there, and I'm using this Best Ever Craft tape to lay on the back of it and pick it up so that I can, since I'm not using a full sheet, it's kind of hard to line it up exactly, and so I tried this way. It did pose a problem, and I will show you that when we get to it, but I'm using it. I'm not going to, I wasn't going to waste it. So I'm bringing in my black Better Press ink and just getting it inked up really nice. Probably got a little carried away with it because I have a little extra inking on there. And I think the extra inking is probably because I used the tape because the extra inking showed up where the tape was, and I ran it through twice. I went forward and backward, and that did create a problem. So if you use tape that way, don't press more than once. But I guess I wouldn't do that. But anyway, so I got a little over inking, and I thought, well, I'm going to run with it. And so I'm just going to pull it off here, and I had a heck of a time getting it off of there because it had been double pressed on there. And then I'm just going to grab that Better Press ink after I get this tape off the back, and I'm just going to distress it up and just make it look kind of like a tattered paper, kind of like an old person, I guess. Anyway, so I'm just going to rub that black ink on there and just kind of tatter this up a little bit, and we're going to run with the way that it pressed, and I think it works out fine. I think it's fun. We still got the black and the pink going on, and we're going to have a white frame around it, so I think it'll work out just fine. So I'm going to get some glue on there. I still had a little piece of tape on there, but I left it on there because it was kind of holding my letters in place because it pressed kind of hard. And I'm just going to give it a good press and lay it down on there. And I think it's a fun little element, fun little sentiment, and a super fun outside of the card. I really like how it turned out. So I hope you like it too. Give it a little shake so you can see the wiggly eyes and the little dancing legs. And here is a close-up. I hope you like it. If you do, consider hitting that like button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.